to oppose this bill in its entirety. I oppose it, Madam Speaker, because it is unnecessary. It is dangerous. I oppose it because it is anti-democratic. Most importantly, Madam Speaker, I oppose it because it seeks to reverse every democratic gain which we achieved in the 2013 Constitution. Madam Speaker, the Minister of Justice, Honorable Ziyambi, he wants us to believe that this bill is about improving governance. It is not. The Minister asks us to believe that this bill is about constitutional development. It is not. The Minister further asks us to believe that this bill is about national interest. Madam Speaker, I submit it is not. This bill, Madam Speaker, is about one thing and one thing alone, which is the accumulation and preservation of political power. If this bill was truly about improving the life of ordinary Zimbabweans, we would be seized at this moment, amending the Constitution to guarantee jobs, strengthen health care, improve education, and protect the citizens from poverty. We are not doing that, Madam Speaker. Instead, what we have today, Madam Speaker, is a bill whose beneficiaries are us politicians and not the people. The people get nothing. Politicians get everything. Madam Speaker, you will recall when Zimbabwe overwhelmingly voted the 2013 Constitution, and I want to state here, Madam Speaker, there were more than 3.2 million Zimbabweans who casted their votes, of which 3,079,000 voted for the 2013 Constitution, which represented 94.5% of Zimbabweans. That says this Constitution is a better Constitution. It was a compromise document which would actually push this country forward. This Constitution, Madam Speaker, the constitutional amendment bill that we have, the current Constitution we have, the 2018, was meant to do the things to limit us politicians. Not what we want to do today, Madam Speaker. Today, CAB 3 wants us politicians to limit the Constitution. The Constitution, Madam Speaker, was designed to protect citizens from those in power. Today, those in power seek protection from the Constitution. That is the fundamental danger before us. Madam Speaker, the Minister repeatedly says constitutions are living documents. Indeed they are. But living documents, Honorable Speaker, are supposed to evolve forward, not backward. Progress is moving democracy to more democracy. Progress is moving from concentrated power to distributed power. Progress is moving from rulers controlling citizens to citizens controlling rulers. This bill takes us the opposite direction. It is not constitutional evolution, it is constitutional regression. It is a journey backwards. Madam Speaker, one of the most offensive aspects of this bill is the assumption that politicians know better than the people. At every turn, this bill removes power from citizens and transfers to politicians. The people are told they can no longer be trusted to directly elect their president. Politicians will decide. Really? The people are told they must wait longer before they can hold leaders accountable through elections. Madam Speaker, the people of Zarasekwa on 23 August 2023 gave me a 5-year mandate which expires on 3rd September 2028. There are people within my party whom I beat in the primary elections who desire to be members of parliament for Zarasekwa. There are people from ZANU-PF whom I defeated in the general elections that also desires to be members of parliament for Zarasekwa. Everybody should be given the opportunity at the expiry of the 5-year term to go. If the people still want Mshoriwa as the MP for Zarasekwa, they should vote me back. It is wrong, Madam Speaker, for Mshoriwa to stand to be here and participate in extending my own contract. Yet my bosses, the people of Zarasekwa, do not know. You are aware, Madam Speaker, that the Honorable Minister has told us that we will not go to a referendum. Because in his wisdom and in his view, he thinks it is not necessary. I'm not going to comment too much on this because it's a matter that is too sub-juice. But I believe that anything that tends to benefit me, to benefit all of us here in Parliament, to benefit the current president, it needs the people of Zimbabwe to have their say. And they can only do that, Madam Speaker, through a referendum. If the people say it's okay, then it is fine. Not the few of us here, the beneficiaries of the people that casted their votes for us, to simply say, no, let's extend our term. Madam Speaker, the people today are being told through this Cape 3 that constitutional safeguards are obstacles. Politicians have the right to decide. And I believe, Madam Speaker, that it is arrogance of its highest order. It is a constitutional betrayal. Zimbabwe, Madam Speaker, does not reside in Parliament. The sovereignty of Zimbabwe resides in its people. We are merely temporal custodians of authority entrusted to us by the citizens, temporarily for a 5-year period. We do not own Zimbabwe, Madam Speaker. We do not own the Constitution. We do not own the future. Madam Speaker, every generation of politicians faces a temptation. The temptation to believe that because they possess numbers today, they think they possess legitimacy forever. History teaches us otherwise, Madam Speaker. Parliamentary majority come and go. Political parties, they rise and fall. But constitutions should endure. This is why constitutions must never be manipulated to suit a temporal interest of those occupying public office. Madam Speaker, the Constitution must outlive politicians. The Constitution must restrain politicians. The Minister, the Honorable Minister of Justice, speaks of stability. I found that argument deeply troubling. Throughout history, attacks on democracy have always been justified in the name of stability. The answer to every democratic demand has been, we need stability. The answer to every demand for accountability has been, we need stability. The answer to every demand for citizens' participation has been, we need stability. But true stability does not come from extending political power. True stability comes from constitutional legitimacy. True stability comes from free and fair elections. True stability comes from accountable leadership. True stability comes from citizens believing that the rules apply equally to everyone. Madam Speaker, Zimbabwe has many pressing problems. Citizens are struggling to survive. Young people are searching for opportunities. Business are battling economic uncertainty. Public service requires urgent attention. Yet the government's constitutional priority is not solving these challenges. Its priority is altering the rules of politics. That tells us everything we need to know, Madam Speaker. There is a profound difference between constitutional reform and constitutional manipulation. Constitutional reform strengthens democracy. Constitutional manipulation strengthens politicians. Constitutional reform empowers citizens. Constitutional manipulation empowers us office holders. Constitutional reform expands accountability. Constitutional manipulation reduces accountability. CAB 3, Madam Speaker, falls squarely into the second category of constitutional manipulation. Madam Speaker, it's not very long ago, just a few years ago, 2017, Zimbabweans were promised a new dispensation. They were promised democratic renewal. They were promised constitutionalism. They were promised the respect for institutions. Yet today we are being asked to support amendments that undermine the very constitutional principles that Zimbabwe were promised would be protected. That tragedy, Madam Speaker, is not merely that the government has brought this bill. The tragedy is that some who once defended the constitutional are now defending constitutional erosion. Some who once demanded limits on power now seek to expand power. Many of us will know, at the tail end of the former president, Robert Mugabe's reign, how many of the people who are sitting on my right were calling for accountability, but today are actually singing a different hymn. History, Madam Speaker, will record those contradictions. Future generation will ask, what we did when the Constitution was placed under threat? And I speak this to all honorable members. Future generation will ask whether we defended the People's Charter or we surrendered it. They will ask whether by the Zimbabweans.
Honorable Mshoriwa, you are left with 5 minutes.
Thank you. I refuse, Madam Speaker, to endorse constitutional changes that weaken citizen sovereignty. I refuse to support amendments that place political interests above national interest. This bill represents a retreat from constitutional democracy. It represents a retreat from accountability. Madam Speaker, in 2017, and all of us will recall what transpired. We woke one morning. We saw on our national television men in army uniform addressing us. They told us that the president is safe. We want to deal with the criminals surrounding the president. Madam Speaker,
Point of order.
Order, Honorable Mshoriwa. What is your point of order?
Atichaziwa, Madam